Hey guys, what's going on? If you're new here, welcome. My name is BrittanyNichole. I have hooded eyes and I tend to do a lot of hooded eyeshadow tutorials on my channel that are simple, informative, and achievable no matter what level of makeup you're at. But today we are nice and up close and personal with my bare skin because we are going to be testing out the new this might not be new actually, it might be very old, but new to me, Real Techniques Brush Crush Cosmic Sponge Duo. So I saw this at Ulta yesterday. It was $9.99 and it totally got me. These are obviously round sponges, which I have never seen done before. So my first thought when I saw it was, okay, that could work really well for cream blush, which I'm gonna be doing a video on a totally cream makeup tutorial. But then I thought, okay, but if I use these for my foundation and my blush, I can't use it for my under eyes. I might attempt to do it with the littler one. Obviously this one is a little bit bigger than this one. These are also damp, so they're slightly smaller when you get them in the package, but I was just super intrigued. Now, obviously I think this is more of like a showstopper type of product. I don't know if I would grab for this constantly. If you guys have been with me for a while, you know my absolute favorite sponge is the Japanese Kumidori sponge. This is my holy grail. I have a whole video on beauty sponges and my thoughts on them. I'll link that up here and down below if you want to see that. But nothing applies and holds up as well as this sponge for me. So I thought today we would try one half with the Japanese and then the other half with the Real Techniques circular sponges. So if you are interested in seeing how these compare, go ahead and keep watching. Okay, so I've already applied my primers. I let them sink in for about 15 minutes. Always do that. I think that is the best way to allow your primers to really function. So in my visible pore area, which is really just right here, I used the Revlon Photo Ready Pore Reducing Primer, and then on the rest of my face, I used the Too Faced Hangover RX. These I've been using for a long time and I know they work really well on me, so I wanted to give my foundation the best chance it had with using these new sponges. Now, if you guys have been with me for a while, you know I was not and never actually was a fan of the Real Techniques orange sponges. A lot of people said that they like changed the formula on it, so I tried it like a long time ago when they first came out and then recently, and I just don't like how they apply my foundation. I do love their exfoliating sponge, but these feel a lot different from that sponge. These are a lot softer and feel a lot more like the Japanese sponge. So here is to hoping. So let's go ahead and grab our foundation. I'm gonna be using the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear in the shade 420. I love this. I have so many videos using this now, and I figured we'd go in with this one over the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation since this has a little bit more coverage to it, and I really want to see like how that performs with the sponges. So we'll go ahead and do the Real Techniques on this side and then the Japanese on this side. So I'm gonna apply it with my finger. And I've been kind of applying a little bit of foundation to the back of my hand. I'm gonna use the bigger of the two sponges, by the way, and just kind of bouncing the foundation into the back of my hand before going in. So there's a little bit of a foundation layer under there. I feel like it kind of helps the sponge to not absorb so much product. So I'm gonna scoot in a little bit closer here. That's about a half a pump. Usually I build it up a little bit in my cheek area, but we're gonna see how this goes for now. So it's blending really well so far. It's easy. I didn't know if it would be as easy to hold as the other sponge, but since it is so like spongy and soft, it's very easy to hold. Now, if you have a dog like I do, I have a feeling they're gonna be way more prone to eating your sponges if you do go with this version, or cats who love to play with like little balls and things. So be wary of that, because I've had sponges eaten in my lifetime and went up and had to go to the vet because my dog was suddenly pooping pink and I had no idea why. All right, so that blended out really nicely. The finish looks really pretty. I like it. I think it looks pretty similar to how the Japanese applies. It may have absorbed a little more than I wanted to. You guys can see, like I said, I did kind of press it into the back of my hand, but It did absorb a bit, but like I said, that was half a pump. So I'm gonna quickly just apply the other half of the pump to the other side of my face, and then we'll compare them. I'm obviously using the Japanesque on this side. Okay, so that is both sides done. This is the Japanesque side, this is the Real Technique side. Couple things, I do feel like the Japanesque side is a little tiny bit more full coverage. You could see it mostly around the redness area. I'm not sure if you could see that on camera, but the Real Technique side does look slightly lighter coverage right here where you can really see the redness. The other thing is the Real Technique side looks a lot more glowy than the Japanesque side, which is interesting. I'm not sure why. It might be because it wasn't applying as much product, so a little bit more of like my skincare is showing. I do want to build up the cheek area to see how they build. I find some sponges really don't build. I know this foundation, since I've been using it for a while, builds beautifully, but sometimes sponges don't let them build beautifully. So I'm going to go ahead and try both sides and see how that works. I'm hoping the Real Technique sponge doesn't absorb any more product, but let's go ahead and see. All right, so yeah, it definitely absorbed the product a little bit. It's still showing the redness. It didn't take away any of the coverage under there, which is good, but I feel like it just didn't build as well. It maybe covered the redness a little bit more, but you'll see when I go in with the Japanesque sponge here, it really just pushes that product into the skin and builds it up a little bit more. So really I can barely see any redness coming through on this side now, but I can see it right here. Hopefully you guys can see that on camera. So I still do like the Japanesque sponge a bit more. Nothing compares to this in my mind, but this is cool. It's different, it's cool. I think it's gonna be really cool, like I said, for cream blush. So let's go ahead and try to apply some concealer with this. So I did pick up the ColourPop concealer, which is new to me, so I do wanna try that again. Been trying it for a day, not sure how I feel about it, so let's go ahead and apply. You know what, that's probably not a good call, actually, if we're gonna be going in with a new sponge. Let's actually use our Too Faced Born This Way concealer, since we know how that applies. All right, so I have the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I will let you guys know, I'll keep trying the ColourPop and let you guys know what I think about that, but I'm gonna go ahead and just do the Japanesque side first. All right, so that is the Japanesque side finished. You guys know what that looks like because I use it in almost every video. So let's go ahead and try with the smaller Real Technique sponge, applying on this side. Here's to hoping. Actually, that's not as bad as I thought. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get on the inside of the eye, but I'm just going to try to look up. It's actually not irritating at all to do this. And that blended pretty fast and pretty well. It definitely absorbed a little more product than this side. It's leaving a little bit of like purple kind of dots because I think the sponge is kind of shedding, but it is a new sponge, so I might have to work with that a little bit. I do think Japanesque side is a little more full coverage, like I said, and again, this side is a little more glowy because I think it is kind of letting my skin peek through a little bit more. It does look a little drier on this side as well, so I'm not sure what that's about. That might just be my skin. I do prefer the Japanesque sponge because it's just easier to really get up there. And then as far as like setting with powder, I like to do that with a damp sponge, so that would kind of be a little bit difficult with this as well. But you know what, let's go ahead and try to apply a cream blush as well, because I do think that this is gonna work better for that. So let's try that compared to this. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go in with the Flower Beauty Blush Balm in Bubbly. These are new to me. I'm not usually a cream blush person, but like I said, I'm gonna do that video with all cream products, so I wanted to pick something up. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Real Techniques side. I'm gonna kind of just apply it with my finger to start. And then I'm gonna again kind of dip into the remaining product, kind of put a barrier on there on the back of the little sponge and blend. that worked out really nicely. Looks really pretty. I like the finish. It's like the perfect size for my cheek area. I have big cheeks and this is a smaller sponge. So if you didn't really have big cheeks, I'm not sure how that would work for you, but that looks really pretty. I hope you can see it on camera. I'm just gonna add a little bit more to the back of my hand directly on the sponge to kind of move up a little bit. Yeah, that looks really pretty. I like that a lot. It's kind of just like, the lights might be too light for you guys to see. I think you can though. Just kind of like a blushing from within. That looks really, really pretty. So let's go ahead and try it with the Japanese sponge on the other side. I'm gonna do the same thing. See, here's the issue. Like, I think this is gonna be too big and I don't wanna go in with that side. So I'm gonna use the butt of the sponge and kind of squeeze. Yeah, I definitely like the Real Techniques sponge better for this. This is kind of patchy and it's going on a little too full coverage for me, whereas the Real Techniques kind of absorbed a little bit more, which I really liked. So yeah, the Real Techniques side in general just looks a lot more smooth. You could see how much more full coverage it is on this side with this sponge. So I guess that's just a matter of preference. I'm actually gonna take the larger Real Techniques sponge to kind of pat over the side that I applied the Japanese one with to kind of tone a little bit of that down if I can. It's crazy how much better that side looks with the blush. Like, you could straight up see that on camera. Interesting. Yeah, definitely like this side better. All right, so overall, I actually do like these sponges a lot. I thought I was gonna have a much more difficult time applying under the eyes with the little sponge for concealer, but that actually wasn't hard at all. I think that the Real Techniques side looks a lot more natural, whereas the Japanese side looks a little more full coverage. So depending on what you like, you might enjoy this. I definitely think this is a different consistency than the orange sponge, way different, and I like it a lot more. I think the concealer looks absolutely beautiful. Now, I have fine lines under my eyes. I'm not gonna set my concealer, actually. I haven't been doing that lately, but it's not creasing too heavy into the fine lines at all. The Japanese side is actually creasing a little bit more, I believe, because this kind of applies a little more full coverage than the Real Techniques side, but overall, I definitely do think I would grab for this again, whereas I thought I wasn't going to. So yeah, I'm actually shockingly surprised. Now, as for convenience, it is definitely more convenient, like I said, to just go in with one sponge all over the face, under the eyes, but having this for cream blush wouldn't be bad at all. And I could definitely see myself getting the cat hair off first, reaching for this again, actually, if I wanted a little bit more of a sheer coverage. I hope you can see on camera, this side does just look a little more radiant than the Japanese side. So I hope this was helpful to some of you. I'm thinking maybe we can kind of start like a series like What the Heck Wednesday or something like that, where when I find new products, I post them on Wednesdays, since I post on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. and Sundays at 12 noon. I think that might be kind of a cool series when different kind of products come out and stuff like that. Let me know what you think below. Let me know if you've seen these, if you've been interested, or if there are other products like this. I have not seen a totally circular sponge ever. So I give this one a thumbs up, actually, which is kind of shocking for me with Real Techniques sponge. So let me know if you guys have any questions below. Otherwise, if you're interested in seeing any more videos from me, please subscribe. I will also leave my Instagram down below if you're interested in following me there. I usually post a picture on there letting you guys know I've uploaded on YouTube, because sometimes YouTube doesn't let you guys know when I post video, which is just lovely. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.